The Supreme Court of the United States handed down a 6-3 decision written by Judge Clarence Thomas, which ruled in favor of New Yorkers having the right to carry a gun in public without having to show proper cause. The New York gun permitting process has put New Yorkers in a vulnerable position by making their Second Amendment right subject to the whims of judges and sheriff's departments because the state law allowed permitting offices in New York to refuse citizens their right to carry a gun in public for no reason other than the failure to prove proper cause. Proper cause was a vague term that no one could define. The Second Amendment doesn't say the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed as long as the New York legislature agrees. So finally, the long-awaited decision by the Supreme Court in a case called New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin gave New York State the good old-fashioned legislative spanking it deserved when it determined that the requirement to show proper cause to exercise a God-given right is in fact a violation of the Constitution. Non-elected Governor Kathy Hochul was infuriated that she can no longer control the rights of New Yorkers. Upon learning of the Supreme Court decision, Hochul said in a tweet, "It is outrageous that at a moment of national reckoning and gun violence, the Supreme Court has recklessly struck down a New York law that limits those who can carry concealed weapons." She also said, in response to this ruling, "We are closely reviewing our options, including calling a special session of the legislature. Just as we swiftly pass national leading gun reform legislation, I will continue to do everything in my power to keep New Yorkers safe from so-called gun violence." Apparently, the appointed governor only wants to disarm her constituents, because if she really wanted to protect New Yorkers from violence, she wouldn't have let out nearly 200 prisoners from Rikers Island. Hochul seems to be committed to creating a victim-predator society in New York State. I wonder how she and her fellow Democrats would benefit from that. In a video referring to the decision, Kathy Hochul revealed her disdain toward the rights of the people when she said this.
Shocking, absolutely shocking, that they have taken away our right to have reasonable restrictions.
Sorry, Kathy, you don't have the right to violate others' rights. Hochul then went on a desperate rant to try and compare gun restrictions to not being able to yell fire in a crowded theater. When the gun grabbers resort to this type of behavior, they've already lost the argument.
You can't yell fire in a crowded theater.
Hochul went on to say,
but somehow there's no restrictions allowed on the Second Amendment.
Well, there certainly shouldn't be any restrictions to the Second Amendment. Whether you like it or not, real Americans will continue to defeat you and your mission to make New Yorkers unarmed and helpless. We will continue to knock down your unconstitutional laws. God gives us the right to defend our lives. You Democrats don't have the authority to override that. As much as you'd like to be, you're not God. In typical left-wing, emotionally reactive fashion, New York City Mayor Eric Adams and New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy did their share of kicking and screaming over the ruling. Adams said in a press conference that they will start to define sensitive locations when carrying a gun is banned.
As we start to define sensitive locations when carrying a gun is banned.
He couldn't resist using the typical anti-gun rhetoric when he said,
and we cannot allow New York to become the Wild Wild West.
And in a last-ditch effort to instill fear in the hearts of those who don't know any better, Adams said,
having a gun presence in your home is heightening the risk of your family.
Heightening the risk of your family.
Well, maybe Mayor Adams hates the idea that good people will finally be able to defend themselves against the violent predators he lets walk the streets of the once admired New York City. Knowing that lawsuits will be coming down on the state of New Jersey first because of its current unconstitutional gun laws and its close proximity to New York City, Jersey Governor Phil Murphy, Democrat, had this to say. States can no longer decide for ourselves how best to limit the proliferation of firearms in the public sphere. Seems like Murphy is mad that he can't violate the rights of his citizens any longer. He also said, "Let there be no mistake. This dangerous decision will make America a less safe country." Actually, Phil, this will allow the good people of New Jersey to finally be able to defend themselves against the criminal element. Who are you trying to protect? The law-abiding citizen or the criminal? The Supreme Court has finally put these dangerous Democrats in their place and reminded them of their constitutional boundaries. I'm Dan Wass, and this has been another AmmoLand News Second Amendment Update. And tell us what you think in the comments below, and share this with your family and friends to help support AmmoLand News, America's oldest Second Amendment news outlet.